Thanks for coming. Today I would like to show you how we cook with beer here at Titletown Brewing Company. Beer, cheese, and pasta. What better combination in Green Bay could you get? This dish I'm going to show you today, you could use at a tailgate party, you could use for dinner, you could use it as an appetizer party kind of thing. It's very, very, very versatile. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our Green 19 beer. We use the Green 19, it's an IPA. It has a little more of a hop flavor to it, which is going to be a little bit on the kind of bitter side of things, which is going to help cut through the richness of the heavy whipping cream we're going to add. And we're just going to let these things come to a full boil. Okay, so now we have our heavy whipping cream and our beer in here, and when it's come to a nice full boil, we're going to start putting in our American cheese. Now, we're using a white American, and for years I fought against American cheese, but one of my sous chefs showed me that you can have kind of a combination of the two, where you get the smooth, creamy silkiness of the American cheese, and you can still throw in, which we're going to add later, a nice sharp cheddar or some other flavors of cheese. So you kind of get that nice balance of a high-end cheese flavor with the smooth creaminess of the American. We're just going to kind of layer this in there, let this melt on its own. We don't need any thickening ingredients in this. The cheese itself is going to be what's going to keep this cheese sauce, this beer cheese sauce, nice and thick. Okay, now as you can see, we're going to keep stirring this, and when that American cheese is almost all melted, got a couple little bumps in there, we're going to throw in our cheddar cheese, and this is going to add a lot of nice cheesy flavor. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you could make this into like a fondue and serve it as is with just some dippers like pretzels or chips or whatever. You could add any other ingredients to it if you wanted to throw in some shrimp, or if you wanted to throw in some bacon, and then you could have kind of an upper end fondue there. And once this is all nice and smooth and creamy in here, we're going to make it into one of the best macaroni and cheese. We call it our drunk mac and cheese that you've ever had. So we have our fondue here, which we made with our Green 19 ale, and we're going to use this for a base for our drunk mac and cheese. What better way to celebrate Wisconsin than beer, cheese, and some crazy pasta? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to start with about a teaspoon of garlic and a little bit of oil. I'm going to put that in a kind of a hot pan. Set that garlic in, and now you want to just wait until your garlic starts to sizzle around the edges. You just want to soften it and give it a light roasted flavor. You don't want to scorch it, because that's going to give yourself a very bitter sauce in the end. So we're going to let that soften. You can see that starting to sizzle around the edges. Then we're going to throw in our ham. We're using a pit ham. It's a nice smoky flavor. It holds up very well with sauteing. And we want to kind of caramelize that a little bit. We want to let some of those juices in the ham kind of hit that hot pan and mingle with the garlic and make a little bit of a browning on there, just a very light browning. That is going to help develop the flavor in your dish. Let's turn our burner down just a smidge. There we go. So as you can see now, we're starting to get some little browning bits along the edges. Our garlic is coming along, roasted nice and light brown. Let's give it one more toss, and then we're going to add in our green peas. And we want to just heat those until they just start to get warm, because as you know, when you overcook peas, they're going to turn that funny color on you. So give that a little toss, let it sit for just a second or two. Everything's all nice and heated up. We're going to throw in our fondue. You can use the fondue from hot, or you can let it cool and use it, the next day, or use it later in the week if you want as well. We're going to put our sauce in. Going to give it a little stir. Kind of let that come up to temperature. And we start to see the bubbles coming around the edge of the pan nicely. We're going to add our pasta. So as you see, the bubbles are starting to come up all the way around. That lets me know that my cheese sauce is nice and warm. I'm going to throw in my pasta. we're using our cavatappi noodles. It's a nice corkscrew noodle. It holds a lot of sauce. It's because of the ridge in it and because of the curl in it. Okay, now you can see this cheese sauce is getting nice and bubbly all around these noodles. It's been sitting for a minute or two, so it's nice and warm. So we're simply going to swing this over to our bowl. And you can put in more cheese or less cheese, however you prefer your cheesy macs to be. And top it with some fresh cheddar cheese and a little bit of toasted breadcrumb. Now at this point, you can serve it as is, or you can pop it under the broiler and melt that cheddar cheese and get it all warm and gooey. We serve it as is with a nice crusty bread or with our beer bread.